What is tissue? A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a specific function. You know, in a tissue, similar cells is there and all cells performs a specific function. When several tissue together contributes some specific function inside the body constitutes an organ. Means in an organ there are different type of tissues are involved. Many organs work together to perform a specific life process constitutes your organ system. You know, in an organ system, many organs work together. For example, your digestive system is your organ system. In your digestive system, many organs like your stomach, your esophagus, your liver, your pancreas, your intestine all works together to carry out this life process. Many organ system constitutes an organism. You know that in any organism there are many organ systems is present. For example, in a human being there is a digestive system, there is a circulatory system, excretory system, a skeletal system, etc. Similarly, in plants have root system and shoot system. Now, let's come to the plant tissue. The plant tissue are mainly of two types. One, meristematic tissue and second, permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue is also called meristem. Right? The tissue in which the cell remains forever young and divides actively throughout the life of the plant. Means the meristematic tissue have dividing cells. The cells of meristematic tissue divide throughout the life of the plant. The main characteristics of meristematic tissue is the cells are a small, cubical, having thin cell wall, nucleus are large, vacuoles are almost absent. Cells are very closely packed, means there is no intercellular space, and the cells are actively dividing to adding the new cells to the plant. Now, this meristematic tissue is further classified into two parts, apical meristem and lateral meristem. In this slide, we will see only about the apical meristem. In next slide, we will see about the lateral meristem. Apical meristem are present at the apex of the plant, through which the plant grows. Means this apical meristem is present at the tip of root and shoot. You know, the plant grows through their tips. The apical meristem have dividing cells and the cells subsequently divide and forms new cells, which results in the increment in length of the plant. The meristematic also influence the shape of mature plant, since the pattern of subsequent growth are laid down in the meristems. Right? Next is your lateral meristem. Lateral meristem is further classified into three parts. One is your vascular cambium, second is your cork cambium, third is your intercalary cambium. Intercalary meristem. Vascular cambium In some plants, grow in diameter by producing new cells laterally from the cylinder of tissue called vascular cambium, which extend throughout the length of the plant from the tip of the shoot to the tip of the root. Means vascular cambium mainly involves in the increment in the diameter of the cell, diameter of the plant. The tissue produced by cell division and the cellular cambiums are secondary tissue. Next is your cork cambium. This cork cambium is also known as phylogenes. The cork cambium originates just under the epidermis of the primary body, in which the tree species are long cylinder running parallel to the vascular cambium. Right? The intercalary meristem is present at the node, which helps in the increment in the distance between the two nodes. Now, come to the next slide. Permanent tissue. Permanent tissue is of two types. One is your protective tissue and second is your supportive tissue. Protecting tissue have thick cell wall, and this protective tissue is present on the surface of root, stem and leaves. You know, the epidermis of the leaf secretes a waxy waterproof material which protects the leaves from the water. Now come to the next, that is supporting tissue. Supporting tissue is of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma cells may be different shape depending on its exact location. You must know the cell of parenchyma may be oval, cuboidal, right? The parenchymatous cells have large central vacuoles. These organelles is responsible for the storing water and ions. Means the central vacuoles mainly involved in the storing of water and ions. Due to the increased water amount inside the cell, it creates a turgor pressure, and this turgor pressure allows the plant to transport the water to the tip of the plant. You know, most photosynthesis takes place within a specialized parenchyma cell found in the leaves. These parenchyma cells are called chlorenchyma cell, which contains chloroplast, and you know that in chloroplast the chlorophyll is present, and chlorophyll is mainly involved in the photosynthesis process. Next is your collenchyma. Collenchyma is your simple permanent tissue which are typically found in the shoot and leaf of the plant. Collenchyma cells are thin walled, but it have thick at the corner, which is made up of cellulose. Due to the presence of cellulose and thick cell wall, it provides mechanical support to the plant. The tissue gives a strength, particularly in growing shoot and leaves, due to thickened corner. Right? Next is your sclerenchyma. A sclerenchyma is a simple permanent tissue. It is a supporting tissue in the plant and making the plant hard and tough. The two types of sclerenchyma cell is fiber and scleroids. The sclerenchyma fiber are long and narrow and have thickened lignified cell wall. Means the cell wall of a sclerenchyma fiber is lignified. Lignin is present in their cell wall. The sclerenchyma provides the mechanical strength to the plant, which allow them in the conduction of water. Ascularids are a specialized sclerenchyma cell which with thickened, highly lignified wall with a pit running through the walls. They support the soft tissue to pear and guava and are found in the cells of some nuts. Next. Now come to the very important tissue of the plant. That tissue are called conducting tissue. These conducting tissue are mainly involved in the transportation of water, minerals and food throughout the plant. Now, this conducting tissue is of two types. One is called xylem and second is called phloem. Now let's start with the xylem. The xylem has dual function of supporting the plant and also transporting the water. Means xylem provides the mechanical support to your plant and also it involves in the transportation of water from root to the tip of plant. This xylem is mainly made up of four different types of cells, that is xylem vessels, tracheids, fibers and xylem parenchyma. The vessels and tracheids are non-living at maturity and are hollow to allow transport of the water. But vessels and tracheids have lignin in the secondary wall which provides additional strength and support to the plant. Means out of these four cells, vessels and tracheids mainly involves in the transportation of water. Fibers and parenchyma cells involves in the supporting to the plant. Now, your first one is xylem vessels. You know, xylem vessel is a part of your xylem. It is made up of long chain, elongated, tough and dead cell, which are known as vessel element. Means xylem vessels are made up of dead cells. Right? The vessel elements are long and hollow and it lack protoplasm. Means protoplasm is not present in your xylem vessel because it is a dead cell. And it also makes a long tube because the cells are arranged end to end. Means when at the end of one cell attached with the other end of the other cell and makes a tube-like structure by dissolving the partition. This tube-like structure mainly involves in the transportation of water from root to the leaves. Right? Now, your next one is tracheids. Tracheids have thick secondary cell wall and are tapered at the end. You can see in tracheids, the tracheids are thin at the end, that is called tapered. So tracheids have tapered end and it have a thick cell wall which provides the support. Right? The tracheids do not have end opening like vessels. The tracheids end overlap with one another with pair of pits present which allow water passage through horizontally from cell to cell. Means just like a vessels, it do not have dissolved partition between the cells, but it have tapered end. Next is your xylem parenchyma. Parenchyma cells in the xylem tissue are involved mainly in storage of carbohydrate, oils and other substances. Right? Xylem parenchyma mainly involves in the storage of materials like a storage of carbohydrate, a storage of oil and other substances. This parenchyma is made up of parenchyma cell, and this parenchyma is the only living cells in xylem. Right? They have thin cell wall because they are live, large vacuoles and prominent nucleus. Prominent nucleus is present because it is a live cell and also it have protoplasm. But your xylem vessels do not have protoplasm, but it have because it is a dividing cell. They have a different shapes although they are usually cylindrical and lobe in form. Right? In the trunk of woody plant, xylem parenchyma cells are colorless and are believed to be involved chiefly in storing starch, oils and other gastric substances. The main function of xylem parenchyma is a storage. Now next come to the next slide. Next is your xylem fiber. It is made up of del ascenchyma. They are thick-walled, long, narrow cells with a tapering end. Again, it have a tapered end. The main function is to provide mechanical support to the plant. You can see the movement of water from root to leaves. So, whatever the transportation of water takes place in your xylem, that is unidirectional, means transportation of water always takes place from lower to higher. Right? Now let's come to the next slide. Next is your phloem. Phloem is also a very important tissue of the plant. This phloem mainly involved in the transportation of food material from leaves to the other part of the plant. Transportation of amino acid, transportation of sugar, transportation of fat, all takes place with the help of your phloem. This phloem again made up of 4 different type of cell, like your companion cell, parenchyma cell, sheath plate and phloem fibers. Now let's discuss about that one. First one is your companion cell. Companion cell have nucleus and are packed with dense cytoplasm which contains many ribosomes and mitochondria. Means in a companion cell the large number of mitochondria and ribosomes are present, which are mainly involved in the energy generation and protein synthesis respectively. Right? This means that companion cells are able to undertake the metabolic reaction about which I have already told you, and the other cellular function, right, which are the sheath element cannot perform as it lacks the appropriate organ. Sheath tube are not able to do this metabolic function because sheath tube do not have these appropriate organs. Right? So the companion cell are live cells. Right? Now come to the next slide. Sheath tube. Sheath tube are elongated, narrow cells which are connected through to form sheath tube structure of the phloem. The sheath element cells are the most highly specialized cell type found in the plant. They are unique in that they do not contain nucleus at maturity and are also lacking organelles such as ribosome, cytosol, Golgi apparatus, and maximizing available space for the translocation of materials. This safe tool is mainly involved in the transportation of the material, and it lacks the all cell organelles, so that the maximum transportation could take place. Also, at the end of the sieve tube, there is a perforated sieve plate. This sieve plate has a small opening through which the transportation of food materials takes place. Right? Now, come to the next slide. Phloem parenchyma. Phloem parenchyma are the collection of cells which make up of filler or plant tissue. They have a thin but flexible wall made up of cellulose. Right? Means the cell wall of parenchyma is made up of cellulose. And this phloem parenchyma is mainly involved in the storage of starch, fat and protein. Right. The main function of phloem parenchyma is the storage of your materials, like your starch, like your fats, like your proteins. Right? Now come to the next slide. Next is your phloem fiber. Phloem fiber are sclerenchymatous cells which are found associated with phloem. The main provides support to the plant. These phloem fibers are dead cells which provide the mechanical support to the plant. Right? I have told you that this phloem is mainly involved in the transportation of food materials. Means the transportation could take place in both the direction. Right? From lower to higher or from higher to lower. So this transportation could take place in both the direction. Right? So the transportation of material in your xylem is a unidirectional, but the transportation of food in phloem is your bidirectional. Right? And the transportation of water and minerals takes place through different processes, like your diffusion of water, osmosis of water and active transport. Diffusion and osmosis do not need any energy consumption, but active transport needs some amount of energy from the transportation, because in active transport the transportation takes place from lower concentration to the higher concentration, that is from lower gradient to the higher gradient. But in diffusion the movement takes place from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Now what about the osmosis? Osmosis is the movement of water molecule from lower concentration to the higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane. So osmosis will take place through the semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane? Semi-permeable membrane is a membrane which is permeable selectively. It allows only certain particles to cross through it. So these are some processes through which the transportation takes place inside your phloem. and xylem. Right? So this is all about your plant tissue. Thank you.